With their backpacks filled and a sense of excitement in their hearts, Felix and Rusty set off toward the Whispering Woods. The forest was dense, and the path ahead seemed to disappear into a curtain of mist. As they stepped into the woods, the trees around them seemed to come alive, their branches swaying and creaking as if whispering secrets to one another. The leaves rustled with an eerie melody, and the wind carried hushed voices that made Rusty shiver. "Are you sure about this, Felix?" Rusty asked, glancing nervously at the towering trees. "These woods give me the creeps." Felix turned back to Rusty, his eyes filled with determination. "Don't worry, Rusty, if it's just the wind playing tricks on us, we can handle this," he said with a reassuring flick of his bushy tail. Felix's confidence was infectious, and Rusty took a deep breath. Nodding together, they continued their journey deeper into the woods. As they walked, they noticed the strange and wondrous sights of the Whispering Woods. Vines twisted around tree trunks, forming shapes that almost looked like faces, and wildflowers with petals that seemed to glow in the dim light dotted the forest floor. Rusty couldn't shake the feeling that the forest was watching them, but Felix pressed on, leading the way with a fearless stride. After a while, they heard a gentle hoot from above. Felix and Rusty looked up to see Mossy the owl perched on a high branch, her golden eyes shining brightly in the dim light of the woods. Mossy was wise and well-respected by all the forest creatures, known for her knowledge of the woods and all its secrets. "Mossy!" Felix called, waving up at her. "What brings you out here?" Mossy swooped down gracefully, landing on a low branch in front of him. "Felix, Rusty," she said in her calm, melodic voice. "I see you two are headed toward the Temple of Gold. You must be careful. The path ahead is not without its dangers. The Whispering Woods are guarded by mysterious creatures, guardians of the temple who do not take kindly to intruders." Rusty gulped, his eyes widening. "Guardians? What kind of guardians?" Mossy tilted her head, her eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "No one knows for sure. Some say they are shadows that move with the mist. Others say they are spirits of the forest itself. Whatever they are, they will test you. You must be brave and stay true to your purpose." Felix nodded, his ears perked with interest. "Thank you, Mossy, we appreciate the warning," he said. Rusty managed a small smile, though he couldn't help but feel a flutter of nervousness in his chest. Mossy spread her wings, ready to take off. "Remember, the forest can sense your intentions. Be respectful, and you may just find your way through." With that, she soared back into the trees, disappearing into the shadows. Felix turned to Rusty, his eyes shining with excitement. "See, Rusty, we just have to stay focused and respectful. We can do this." Rusty took another deep breath and nodded. "All right," Felix said, "let's keep going." They continued along the winding path, the whispers growing louder as they ventured deeper. The mist thickened, and the trees seemed to close in around them. Suddenly, they heard a rustling in the underbrush, and Rusty froze, his heart pounding. Felix stepped forward cautiously, his sharp eyes scanning the shadows. From the bushes emerged a small creature, a rabbit with fur as white as snow and eyes that seemed to glow in the dim light. It stared at them for a moment before nodding and stepping aside, revealing a narrow path that led deeper into the woods. Felix and Rusty exchanged a glance. "I think it's showing us the way," Felix whispered, and Rusty nodded in agreement. With careful steps, they followed the rabbit down the narrow path. The air grew colder, and the whisper seemed to fade, replaced by an eerie silence. Rusty could feel his heart pounding in his chest, but Felix's presence beside him gave him courage. At last, they emerged from the thickest part of the woods into a small clearing. The mist parted, and the trees seemed to sigh, their branches relaxing. Rusty let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding, and Felix grinned at him. "We made it through the Whispering Woods," Felix said, his voice filled with triumph. Rusty smiled, a sense of relief washing over him. "One step closer to the Temple of Gold," he said, his eyes shining with renewed determination. The Whispering Woods were behind them, but the adventure was far from over. The path ahead was still long and filled with unknown challenges, but Felix and Rusty knew they could face whatever lay ahead together.